Let's try another take. You know, you forget to hit the record button and you don't record your footage. So anyhow, been wanting to do a video all week. It's been I threw my back out Monday. I've been on my living room floor and in my bed on a heating pad for most of it. I did manage to get some posts driven in during the course of the week. It's painful and probably funny to watch, so I did shoot some footage of it. But anyhow, working on some of the spring work. Should be working on the barn today. It's beautiful out, but when you want to build fence springtime when the ground's good and soft, you could pound post real easy. It's really the time to do it. So what we're doing is obviously I want to increase my herd a little bit, so I need a little more pasture room for that. And I like to rotate my pasture. It's good it keeps the grass healthy, doesn't let them eat it down so far that it damages the root system. Cows will do that. If you let them eat it down too far, it just damages it. So we're trying to set up a rotational pasture system here. I've been doing it since I started a few years ago with actually cows at my house on my own property. And what I like to do is I only want them on there a couple days at a time. So basically what that does is, in essence, it keeps the cows from eating that grass down too far. And about 4 inches of what you want to let them eat it down to, and then let it recover back to 8 inches if you can. When the cows eat it down too far, or any grazing animal, your sheep, your goats, whatever, even chickens, I've seen chickens rip some ground up. They damage the root system. So the desirable species you want, they may be damaged, they may not want to come back very well. So you want to keep rotating them. You can see behind me the pasture. Let's see if we can, that grass is a little short back there compared to, say, this stuff right here. Now this isn't pasture here, but so that hay back there is pretty short. I let it get eaten down a little too much, and end of last summer was pretty dry. So when it gets dry like that, it's kind of hard to. It gets dry like that, you don't have enough recovery time in between because they're eating it down so fast it's not coming back. I'm talking late July, early August up here when it does that. So I'm adding a couple more good-sized sections to my pasture, coming from the house all the way down the field and around back behind us here, and you'll see that. But I'm doing that so it's going to be a big L-shaped paddock there. So anyhow, enough talking. We're going to get to work. I've got my corner posts and everything driven in. I don't have my braces in, I'll do that last, but got some temporary fence out in the field to pull down, and the white fence posts. I love those, the fiberglass ones. I'm going to reuse them. You can just stick those in the ground by hand. That's the beauty of them. So we're going to get to work.
YouTube. Back up a little, Emma. Sorry.
Hello.
Back up More.
Hello.
More.
Hello.
More. More, Emma. Come on.
Daddy gets like really close. Today we're gonna be making fences.
Emma, you just ruined that.
Alright guys, so a little bit of the fence building work. Awful nice to get back outside after a week of being confined on the living room floor. So I've got quite a bit more fencing to do. This is the time of year to do it, like I said earlier. It's good to do it when the ground is soft. You can pound your posts in really well, really far, get them in there deep. I'm driving 6 and 7 foot wooden posts where I am putting wooden posts on the corners and things like that. And this time of year I could drive them about 3 feet by hand, and that's what you want. I mean, I've got a post auger. I don't like using it because you could pack the dirt back around the post really tight, and out in the middle of nowhere I'm not hauling concrete bags all over the place to dry pack it, but you can pack it in there good and tight. By next spring you can move them around all over the place. So I don't like using that unless it's late summer and the ground's really hard and I don't feel like trying to drive something in by hand. But it's just a beautiful night here. I'm camped out back in my back 40 in some brush because the wind on the other side, and I keep hoping the cows they can hear me, so they're bellowing behind us. I guess they want more hay tonight before I go in. So you can see behind me, this is all ours. Just about back to the pine trees back in the distance there. Got a lot of white oaks right here, right behind me, and a lot of dogwood. But the cows actually love the dogwood. I've left quite a bit in the pasture because it makes really good late season browse for them. You know, they'll eat on the leaves after the grass isn't growing so well, and it kind of gets me through. No, I don't start feeding bales usually till late October, early November. I'm lucky because I rotate the pastures. Like I said earlier, like to rotate them out every day or two. And I think the section I'm working on right now, I think that'll give me 8 sections to rotate on. So 2-day rotation, it's going to be like 16 days before they're back on the first section I started with, and that'll give me a little bit longer time in later summer when stuff's not growing as quickly because it's dry. That'll give me a little more time to let the grass recuperate. If you can see where I'm squatting down here, we're in the pasture, and last year it was dry late, so they ate it down a lot farther than I like it to be eaten down. I mean, I would rather have, end of the season, I like a good 4 inches of grass left in my pastures because it gives it enough cover and shelter. It seems to come back better that way in the spring, but this year, like, it looks like golf course grass. It's all green though. I mean, it's starting to grow. It's not all torn up completely, but cows will, if you let them, any type of grazing animal, like I said earlier, if you let them, they'll eat it right down to the roots on you, and that just destroys your pastures. I like to rotate them because it's good weed control. I make the sections just small enough to where they have to eat it down halfway decent by the time I move them out. So that way I don't get a lot of weeds in my pastures. I mean, I'll get some milkweed here and there, and I usually try to zip that out of there before it goes to seed, but you're always going to get something like that. But for the most part, it's pretty good grass, a lot of timothy, got a lot of bird's foot and fetch in these pastures and out in the hayfield. A lot of clover in the pastures too, which is good high protein stuff. So anyhow, these little farm vlogs, or as Starry calls them, vlogs. Hello Starry, if you see it, hi. We're gonna do these whenever, you know, pretty much when I'm working around on the farm or whatever. You know, I hate to call it a homestead because I don't know. I seem kind of almost feel wrong, like I'd be misleading you guys if I was calling this a totally off-grid and homesteading channel. I mean, I do work a full-time job. I farm, we garden, we do all that. We try to, but we're working towards the process of becoming more of a full-blown, how do I put it? I'd like to go off the grid, but with a lot of the stuff I do, the welding, the woodworking, things like that, I kind of need some heavy-duty power or regular, you know, my 200 amp service into the house. But I would like to get as least dependent on the system as we can, you know, a little more self-sustaining. So every year we do a little bit more to work towards that. I mean, the last year and a half or so, been working on that barn more to give myself a big enough shop and a decent enough shop to where maybe I can start to make a little bit of a living out of it. As much as we'd all like to quit our job, that's not in the cards for me for a long time. But we're also working on getting out of debt, things like that. You know, we've about 3.5 years we'll have everything but the house paid off, and then we're going to be tackling that mortgage heavy. So now I'm just trying to make as much extra as I can to work towards that goal, and that is going to give us freedom when we finally get to that point. So anyhow, did I say it was a beautiful night? It is a beautiful night. So you guys have a good evening. I will catch you the next time.